Jodi Arias seemed to embody the ideal life. A successful marketing executive in her 30s, she was admired for her charm and intelligence. Her home was filled with laughter, her career flourished, and she had built a circle of friends who envied her seemingly perfect existence. However, beneath this facade lay a deep-seated jealousy that would lead to tragic consequences. Jodi was in a passionate relationship with Travis Alexander, a charismatic artist known for his vibrant paintings. Their romance was vibrant and filled with dreams for the future. However, as their relationship deepened, Jodi began to feel Travis's attention wane, especially when he started working with a stunning model named Lila. Lila was everything Jodi felt she was not, effortlessly beautiful and spontaneous. As Travis praised Lila's talent and energy, Jodi's insecurities spiraled into a dark obsession. Each compliment Travis gave Lila felt like a dagger, fueling a jealousy that consumed her thoughts and emotions. The turning point came on a rainy Friday evening. Jodi had meticulously planned a romantic dinner at their favorite restaurant, excited to rekindle their connection. But when she received a text from Travis saying he would be working late with Lila, her heart sank. They had discussed this dinner all week, and Jodi felt a wave of betrayal wash over her. Sitting alone at the table, she struggled to eat while the sounds of laughter and clinking glasses surrounded her. As the hours passed, Jodi's anger transformed into a fierce determination. How could he choose Lila over her? Those thoughts twisted in her mind, filling her with a sense of desperation. That night, driven by rage and despair, Jodi devised a plan to confront both Travis and Lila. Armed with a handgun she had kept hidden for protection, she drove to Lila's apartment, her heart racing with a mix of fear and determination. When she arrived, she took a deep breath and approached the door, her pulse quickening. When Lila answered, surprise turned to concern. "What are you doing here, Jodi?" she asked, her voice laced with genuine worry. "I need to talk to you," Jodi replied, stepping inside. The vibrant artwork in Lila's apartment only deepened Jodi's jealousy. "Why are you with him?" she demanded. "You need to stop seeing him." Lila, taken aback, tried to explain. "I'm just helping him with his art. He's a brilliant artist," she said. But Jodi's jealousy had morphed into something dark and unmanageable. "He talks about you all the time," Jodi shouted, her voice rising as the tension in the room escalated. "You're stealing him from me." "Mia, that's not true. You're overreacting," Lila pleaded, raising her hands in a gesture of peace. But Jodi was beyond reason, consumed by visions of Travis and Lila laughing together, drowning out any rational thought. In a fit of desperation, Jodi pulled out the handgun. "You don't understand. He loves me," she screamed, tears streaming down her face. Lila's eyes widened in shock and fear, and she instinctively stepped back. "Jodi, please, this isn't the answer," Lila cried, her voice trembling. But in a moment of desperation, consumed by rage, Jodi pulled the trigger. The deafening sound echoed through the apartment, shattering the silence like glass. Lila collapsed to the ground, a look of shock frozen on her face as Jodi stood there, breathless and paralyzed by the enormity of her actions. Reality crashed over Jodi like a tidal wave. She dropped the weapon and fled the scene, tears streaming down her face. Days turned into a blur as the investigation unfolded. Police combed through evidence, finding security footage that captured Jodi entering the building and leaving moments later, her heart still racing. Witnesses reported hearing raised voices, and it wasn't long before Jodi's name surfaced as the prime suspect. With the walls closing in, Jodi wrestled with her conscience. The guilt gnawed at her, each day a painful reminder of her choices. Friends and family began to notice her sudden absence from social events, whispers of concern circulating about her well-being. Finally, unable to bear the weight of her actions any longer, Jodi walked into the police station and confessed. "I killed her," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I was jealous." The trial that followed was a media spectacle, drawing attention from all corners. Jodi's defense hinged on the emotional turmoil she experienced, her lawyers arguing that she had acted in a moment of passion. The prosecution painted a stark picture of a woman consumed by jealousy and rage, willing to take a life over a relationship that had begun to falter. As witnesses testified, the courtroom became a battleground for morality and passion. Friends of both Jodi and Lila spoke of their relationships, painting contrasting pictures of the two women. Jody's best friend, Sarah, testified to Jody's struggles with jealousy, recounting how she had confided in her about her fears of losing Travis. The prosecution called Lila's friends to the stand, who spoke of her dreams and aspirations, how she inspired those around her. Their memories filled the courtroom with palpable sadness, a stark reminder of the life lost due to a moment of rage. Ultimately, the jury found Jody guilty of manslaughter. As she stood before the judge, the reality of her choices crashed down on her. Her once perfect life had been shattered by a moment of anger and jealousy. In her cell, Jody replayed the events leading up to that fateful night. She reflected on how jealousy had clouded her judgment, turning love into a weapon. Each night, she lay awake, haunted by the image of Lila's shocked expression and the echoes of the gunshot that had changed everything. Years later, after her release, Jody dedicated her life to advocacy, focusing on issues of mental health and the consequences of jealousy. Schools and community centers, sharing her story to raise awareness about the dangers of unchecked emotions. Through her efforts, Jody learned to forgive herself, though the memory of Lila would always remain a shadow in her heart. She understood that love should never lead to violence, and that jealousy could consume anyone. Ultimately, Jody Arias became a voice for the voiceless, using her experience to foster understanding and compassion in hopes of preventing similar tragedies.